is what flows in this fam's DNA. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to Dope Interviews, brought to you by 19 Media Group. I'm your host, Warren Shaw, and in the virtual building today, I have the first ladies of the Godfather of Harlem, Ilfenesh Hadera and Antoinette Crowe-Legacy. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. How y'all feeling?
Good, Warren. Thank you for having us.
Doing great. Thank you so much. How you doing?
I'm trying to make it, and I'm excited about this season 3. So I kind of want to start. And again, congratulations to you both. It's amazing that a series like this has been able to continue its great work. I've had the great opportunity to speak with Marquand last year and in the middle of season 2. And again, he was just so excited about the work that the show has been able to do and everybody on the cast as well, too. So as we tap into season 3, and for just who's most qualified to answer, if you will, what is this season about? Kind of like, how do the themes kind of tie, and does the story build from season 2? So anybody who feels like, hey, you know what, they want to take a shot at it.
Yeah, I think at the end of season 2, specifically with Bumpy, we see that all of the Doogie goes up in flames. Yeah. You see that he's coming to be head of a war with the Italian mob. We see, I think from in his family life, you see that things are getting dangerous for his family. So it's getting really scary. It's getting sort of scary in Harlem. You're seeing the riots. You're seeing all the things that are happening in the civil rights movement. And so everything is sort of coming to a head at the end of season 2. So in this season, you sort of see the fallout from all of that. You see Bumpy having to pivot, and he starts working with the Cuban mob. So you have the Cuban mob, you have the Italian mob, you have Bumpy trying to all vie for control of Harlem. You see that politically the civil rights movement is trying to do some very big things in politics, and that's getting very difficult because it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And then you also see in Bumpy's family life that things get so dangerous that people have to be moved around, and people leave the city, and things are just heating up everywhere. So you see that Bumpy is at a cross section of a lot of dangerous things, and you see him maneuvering it and trying to simultaneously protect all the people who are close to him.
Yes, it's safe to say that Bumpy is stressed this season. We've never seen him before. The stakes are high.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. But both of your characters, in essence, kind of hold him down, keep him grounded, right? You know, to kind of what he really is really important to him, and that's his family. But the dynamic between your 2 characters is always something that a lot of people and fans of the show are like, all right. And it's awesome to kind of have you both here to kind of have that conversation. So I'll kick it to you, Ilfenesh, like kind of like how would you describe the dynamic between your 2 characters this season specifically?
I mean, you know, that is where in which the problem lies between them this season. You know, everybody's so used to Mamie holding it down, much at the expense of her own goals and dreams and aspirations, right? I mean, she held it down for 12 years while he was away in Alcatraz, had one fling with a boxer for a minute, and everybody crucified her for it, right? I'm making a joke, but it's actually very funny how upset people get about that infidelity when he came home and was doing the same thing with Amy Vanderbilt. The double standards are real, but no, season 3, we really see her. You know, she's still the same loving, devoted mother and wife, holding it down, serving as his confidant, right? I mean, really offers up an ear and a shoulder and great advice, you know, tries to be objective as possible, but is finding her own way. And I think is a little tired maybe of being the woman who always holds it down, at the expense of, like I said, of herself. So there is a lot of conflict this season, and on a grand scale, like, you know, existentially, when it comes to who she sees herself as a woman, as her own woman, independent of mother and wife. And it creates a lot of friction between the 2 of them. And I think also, just as, you know, as this woman who knows him and loves him and sees him for who he is, right? I mean, he's a gangster, but he's also this well-read scholar, speaks multiple languages, you know, could have done anything under different circumstances. I think it's less of her being this nagging presence in his life and more of her wanting to see him fly. So there's a lot to play with this season in their relationship.
Antoinette, anything that you would add to that, and even in terms of like your character and how it relates to Ilfenesh's character through the season 3?
Yeah, I think when we start with Ilfenesh and Elise, I think, or Mamie and Elise, there's a lot of turmoil because they both want to be mother to this child. They both, in their very, very strong respects, are a mother to this child. So I think they come in and they automatically are very defensive with each other. I think they're also very close in age, which is also a thing that makes them very defensive with each other. And so I think you see a lot of conflict. And I think over the past couple of seasons, we've sort of seen them come to different impasses and compromises, because they have to exist in this world together, and they have to exist next to this man who is a great man, but who's also in many, many ways terrible. And so they're both trying to contend with all of the things that he does and all of the things, the harm that he's caused, while also understanding that they both love him very, very deeply. And so I think in this season, you really start to see those compromises blooming into a sort of friendship. There's a kinship that they share. They're both on the other side of a great man, and they're both on the other side of all of those terrible things. And they've both had to contend with them, albeit in very different ways, but they both had to contend with them in their day-to-day lives. So I think you start to see a real friendship bloom between them. It's tentative. There's still a lot to be mined and to be worked out.
That's real.
Yeah. We should talk about the scenes that we've changed. Where there was one scene where I think Mamie was supposed to kiss Elise on the forehead. I said, I don't know if we're there yet.
There was a scene where we were supposed to do like we were supposed to like get up and hug, and both me and Ilfenesh were like, they're liking each other.
We're working on it.
I don't know if we're fully let's
embrace
have a
it,
big warm moment. It's more like,
Yeah, not the salute. All right.
It's getting there. I think there's still a lot that they have to understand about each other. There's like this point, I think, last season where Ilfenesh gives this beautiful, beautiful monologue about a thing that happened to her in her childhood. And it's just like, I think they're still learning about each other, because before they've been on the opposite side of a wall. And now you're seeing, as they get closer and learning more about each other, that they can see how much more they relate to each other. So I think that that's a really beautiful thing that's starting to happen between them.
I think that's awesome and very insightful answers. Antoinette, I'm going to kick it back to you, then Ilfenesh will definitely come back. So, Antoinette, you have this situationship, I think, going on with Malcolm, if you will, or whatever's going on there too. But, it's funny because you both of you just talked about trying to be real and authentic to the characters. And obviously through, you're in the 3rd season, right? Now they had a real actor change, within the season 3. How was that for you to kind of now establish that on-screen chemistry, with the new actor playing Malcolm X?
Yeah, Jason Allen Carvell is playing Malcolm X this season, and from the first day, it was just really great. He was so kind and personable, and he really hit the ground running, and it was really, really lovely to get to work with him. And it was really helpful in the way they sort of set up the season and wrote the season, because there were a lot of moments that we just got to spend together in the beginning. It's a one-sided situationship. And and I think, Elise understands that. And I think you see her relationship with Omar and her sort of trying to figure out where she's supposed to be and also what she wants. And so I think her heart is in a lot of places. And you really get to see how that plays out over the course of this season. How much can I say without getting in trouble? You get to see where her heart lies this season. And Jason was absolutely wonderful. And so I'm really, really excited for people to see the work.
Ilfenesh, one of your character has a lot to do with kind of making sure that the neighborhood is good and kind of like some of the social and political issues that are around there. How do you think the show does a great job of tackling some of those issues? And in reality, we're still seeing some of that crap today. X amount of years later, how do you feel the show does kind of portraying some of those things that took place back that time?
I mean, this is the kind of show where you want it to be timely, right, for viewers and for relevance, but you also hope that it's not, right? We don't want to be stuck in the same place that we're at that we were at in 1965. But here we are, season 2 with the little fruit stand riot. These guys are writing their episodes, and we're protesting in the street because of the murder of George Floyd. So it's just it's a reminder to all those folks who think that we've moved on and we need to get over it, and the 60s were so long ago and this and that. Like, we're still in many ways in the thick of things. And the show sure takes some creative license when it comes to storyline, but the history is not the place where that happens, and the major events. So I think it deals with things in a really poignant way without beating a dead horse.
Yeah, I think that's a great point as well too. How would you describe for both of you the similarities that you may have to your real life personas? I'm sure you've been asked this question a million times over, but just your real life personas to kind of like your characters' personas, and maybe some of the stark differences, like I would never be the way that this person or your character is.
Yeah, I think I've never been addicted to heroin. I don't see that happening in my life. I do come from a very religious background. And so I think for me, when Elise sort of falls into the Nation of Islam and the structure and the beauty of the way that she's treated inside of that, because Black women in the Nation of Islam were sort of seen as these entities to be protected and to be exalted. And I think that sort of beauty that she finds inside of that, and inside of the religion and inside of following Malcolm, who is just such an amazing intellect, and to be next to that, I think is a thing that I really understand, of really chasing that sort of beauty in religion, in the things that you find in opening up your world to something that's bigger than yourself, and even a great mind that is bigger to yourself. I also think just her perseverance, the way she just keeps going. She came from heroin addiction. She's in the Nation. At the end of the season 2, you see her leave the Nation and follow Malcolm, and she still keeps climbing in this season. And I think that's really beautiful, because I think there is an expectation that she'll fall backwards. And I think, for a lot of times, I'm even waiting for that. Like, I'll get the next script and I'll be like, is this it? Is this the moment that we slip back? And it doesn't happen. And I think that's such a beautiful choice that the writers have made, and I encourage it, that she just keeps climbing and persevering. And I think I resonate with that so much, because I have pushed to make art my life. I have pushed to get to this city. I have pushed to live the life that I've wanted to live for many, many years, despite not having the money, not having the time, not having the energy, not having the support. And I think I really resonate with her perseverance. And I think it's part of what makes her such a beautiful character to watch.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, great. And where Mamie is concerned, without like patting myself on the shoulder too much, I think she's got to be a woman who lives her life with relatively little judgment, right? So she's a community organizer and activist. She goes to church every Sunday, and is part of HARU to promote education and employment opportunities in the youth. But she's married to this man who's pumping drugs into their community. So she is someone who understands our dual natures. And I'd like to think that I lead my life that way. Where we differ, I think she's got a level-headedness and a patience that I wish I had. If someone told me to put the effing cornbread on the table, I feel like we'd be thumping. It would be a thing. And she kind of just deals with it. Because she is, she's still, she's a gangster too, but she's demure, she's a lady, and she recognizes her place in society.
Man, I think those are both very insightful answers as well. And as you're doing your art and doing your work, embodying a character, so you can kind of draw from your real life experiences to some degree, but then again, you got to cut that shit off, right? You know what I mean? I don't go too deep into it. Final one, because I know we're short on time here as well too. What's life like, kind of like on set? Just like, what are some of the funniest moments that you both have experienced? And especially with such a talented and experienced cast, and you're on here, kind of have your own talent in your own right as well too. Just what are some of the funniest moments you've experienced? I'll start with you, Antoinette.
One of my favorite things one of my favorite things, especially when we're on location in Harlem, is we'll be outside and Forrest will be sitting there and so many people will walk by and then they'll do this like double take. They'll be like, oh my goodness. And then they'll stop and they'll just scream all these, and they're always so nice. They're like wonderful, beautiful, nice things about how he's great or wonderful, da, da, da. And he's like the nicest person. So he'll be like, yeah, thank you so much. Oh, I really appreciate it. Oh, that's so nice. Like he'll take pictures with people, just like the sweetest human. Wow. But I always think it's so funny when somebody has this huge realization and they stop on the street and they're like, oh my God. And it's the cutest thing. So for me, that I really, really enjoy every single time that happens. And he's so gracious about it. And that's also really just beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And for me, I mean, it's so meta. It's like doing a scene with Giancarlo is like, I'm watching Giancarlo be Adam Clayton Powell, be Giancarlo, and he's just a ham. I mean, you could just do the BTS of our scenes together and everybody would still watch because he's just that animated. Like he's just excited about the work, approaches it with love and gratitude and excitement. And it's such a joy to watch. It's like, I mean, it's everybody on the show. I think we all, you know, when I got this job, an actor friend sent me a message. He's been working for 40 years. He always works. And he was like, hey kid, like these things don't always come along. So like savor this. And that's how everybody approaches their work on this series. And it's just makes it really fun to go to work.
Well, it is amazing to watch, you know, and I think again, as I matriculate through season 3, I've seen the first couple episodes here too, and definitely waiting for MGM Plus now, right? To go ahead, send those screeners over so I can finish up. Again, it's extremely engaging, and the work that the both of you all do is truly, truly something to behold. So, you know, even watching your careers blossom and grow, I think as a fan, you know, somebody who consumes a lot of TV and television out there is really, really excited. So continued success to you both. I'm really excited about this upcoming season. And, you know, thank you so much for joining us. Again, she is Ilfenesh Hadera. That is Antoinette Crowe-Legacy. They are the first ladies of Godfather of Harlem. And this has been another dope interview, and we're out. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Together we stand, divided we never. The vision is one, striving for the better. Working as a team, working toward a dream. It's not even work when the team is the dream. On a united front, we got our own back. A band of brothers to counteract any attack. One heart in fact, forget what the blood say. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA. So let's do it for the love, give to the max. Listen to opinion, but react to facts. And remember that together with a shh, but separate, just pieces of it. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA.
Family represent like a tree with names on it. We're free, no chains on it. Relieved, the pain's gone, I can see. We come together like questions on the quiz. Mojo, Flow, and Viz, man, you know what it is. And if ignorance is bliss, you're gonna hate this lesson. Organized intellect like a tropical depression. My symbol is the cross, a mic, and ghost peppers. Cause I'm just a black sheep growing up to be a shepherd. Moonlighting as a weapon to protect the children. Every brother is a father, dynasties we're building. Max, J, and K, Bay, and Isaiah, next level of the family foundation. Understand me?